Daryl Recommends Podcast is a podcast recommending series and shouldn't be mistaken as a reviewing one. Opinions about each show are my own and should not reflect what each podcast has to offer. Content warning aside, I believe if any recommendation in my series interests you, you should give it a chance, regardless of how I personally feel about the show.
I know I've asked.
Are you gonna ask again if they're okay with you coming? It's my dorm, dude. Wait, is it okay if I...
Yes, Connor, you can call me dude.
Awesome. What was I saying?
Something about, it's my dorm, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with you being here, and so are they.
It's just, you know it's a bit weird, right?
I don't think about weird. Weird's just like a way to stop people from having fun. I think you're cool, and I think you could probably kick my ass at card games.
Then, why did you invite me to...
Carmen kicks my ass at card games too, and Z loves it, so I figured it'd be fun for you too.
Right. Still...
Besides, I see you like every day, and you have my coffee order memorized. That makes us friends.
I'm literally your
7
best
friends,
friend.
a small town, mysterious murders, and mysterious pasts. We follow a group of friends while struggling with school, relationships, and their own traumas, now seem to be the target of a malevolent force. This is 7 of Hearts. 7 of Hearts is a horror mystery layered in tragedy. The show is currently 2 seasons, with no clear date or confirmation of a 3rd season along the way. So, this is one of the things that I find the most charming about this show, is that it feels like a show that was made by friends, which is very easy for me to tell the difference between something that is, like, a serious, like, big company production, such as the stuff like by Rusty Quill or Bloody Disgusting. And I find it charming. It's just a group of friends who made a podcast together writing a story. It's clear that the creators care a lot for their characters and enjoy making the world for them, and boy do they love also putting these guys into situations. I relate to that a lot, considering that's what I do in my own webcomics. Oh, the situations. And overall, I think it's just that's part of what the show makes it so fun, is the fact that it's just characters going through it. These little guys are just going through it. And like the entire cast is just like full of queer characters. And it's one of the only podcasts that I listen to besides Hello from the Hollywoods, at least ones I listen to that I could think of, where the characters actually use like neo-pronouns, which is pretty cool. You don't really see that a lot in podcasts. I can only think of like a handful of characters who use neo-pronouns in between this show and that show, which, like I said, is Hello from the Hollywoods. So it's kind of nice that it's not the Hello from the Hollywoods isn't the only show that has character with neo-pronouns. But I have so many bookmarks, so who knows? Maybe I'll have another show that's bookmarked there with characters who also use neo-pronouns. I do have a couple of like things that are a bit iffy with the show. Not so much of like what the show is about, but more so of just like as somebody who also is a writer, and as well as somebody who, although when the show was coming up at the time, I haven't had much experience with editing audio. Now with editing audio, is that this is a show that you're going to have your hand on the volume button. And it's not very clear-cutted of like when scenes change sometimes. Sometimes it's very clear, other times it's not. There isn't like a really clear like ending of a scene, beginning of another scene until like characters start talking. But sometimes the sound effects kind of get a bit too loud. There have been times where I have jump scared myself in the car because the like characters are having a quiet conversation and then there's a very loud like telephone noise. So if you're driving in a car, this is not a show to listen to. This is more of a show that you listen to with headphones. That being said, I think I enjoyed listening to this a lot more when I gave it my re-listen, rather than listening to episodes as they came out, as it helped me start putting the mystery together better when I was able to listen to episode after episode. And because there's 2 seasons, you can listen to everything all at once and have a clear idea of what's going on by the time you get to the end of season 2. If they ever continue on with season 3, unfortunately, season 2 kind of ends at a point where they're like, okay, let's start explaining things, and then that's the end of the season. And it's been a while, we haven't had season 3. I'm hoping that they continue it. I'd like to see where the story goes, as I am very interested in the story and where it goes. But it's just like a nice little podcast. There's not a whole lot of episodes, so it's a very easy listen if you're somebody who doesn't like shows that are very, very long. Trust me, I'm currently working on a podcast that I've been working on for a couple of weeks now, and it is a lot longer than I originally anticipated when I saw the length of, like, the number of episodes they had. But it's fine, it's a good show, so I'm enjoying the ride. Well, some of the content stuff you gotta worry about, though, is that a lot of the characters have really bad spiraling mental health, and there's a couple times where characters drown. So if you are not into noises like that, or heavy discussions of mental health, this is probably not a show for you. But overall, for a small production, it's a lot of fun. The story can be confusing if you're listening to it like one episode a day or whatnot. I personally think it was easier for me to understand what was going on if I jumped into the next episode after listening to the previous one. But that's just me. It could be different from you. And yeah, it focuses a lot on like the characters' own developments rather than a lot of like external stuff. Most of them are college students going to school, so they talk about being in school, but there's not really a lot of scenes of them at school. It's mostly them hanging out with each other, which, I mean, depending on what kind of person you are, may be interesting, maybe not. I enjoyed it. It was interesting to just, like, see what they did outside of just, you know, study, teaching, you know, all the works. And like I said, besides needing your hand on the volume for this one, this is a nice listen. It's very good. And you can tell that the writers of the show, because I believe everybody who plays the characters on the show also works on the writing for the show, they really enjoy playing it. And of course, Alia is my favorite character. I think, like, literally, they're the one I've drawn the most fan art for, and I think I maybe drawn, like, a little bit of Sal art and Zach art, and that's really it. So anyway, I hope you go give 7 of Hearts a listen. I will be linking their sites down below if they have any still. I was trying to find their Twitter the other day, and I couldn't find it, so I don't know if it's still around. I believe they still have a Patreon, though, so I will link to that. And if you have any suggestions for podcasts I should go check out, you have to leave them so I can go and see them. I bookmark everything I'm recommended. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. And, of course, if you ever want to follow me on anywhere that's not just YouTube, I have my own social media links down below. You can also go read my webcomics if you want. I have a horror comic. I love it. It's so much fun. I love putting my little guys through little situations that scar them for life. Anyway, goodbye, and thanks for listening.